your needs. So everyone give it up for Greg, our second speaker today.
Hello. So you heard me. Well, those of you that did hear me on the podcast, I'm I'm not here to sell anything. I just want to pass along some wisdom. Uh, uh, there's a lot of solar going on in the world, and if you want solar panels next to your house, and you want to use it for your soul power, you don't want to be a slave to the power company, then you're talking 30, 40, $50,000 to do it correctly. And I can't foot that bill. I'm not that guy. I'm not gonna spend more than I would pay for a car to support uh, solar in my house. So I just wanted to be smart about it and be prepared. And after being in electronics for 35 years, this is DC. Batteries are DC electronics, and I worked in the DC electronics field as an applications engineer for 35 years. So, building a box like this that has 10 things in it, I got to stay behind the plane. Anyway, it's you can't just do it. You shouldn't go and put batteries in a box because it's metal and it's really dangerous to do it. So unless you have done it all your life, that I can show you here in a bit. I'll tip it up, but there's a lot in here. Um, so the reason I guess I'm here is I just want to pass along. Being prepared is an individual thing. You've got to figure out what you need to survive when your power goes out, and that's what I'm talking about right now. Is supporting when my power goes out. I live in the country and my power goes out all the time. Uh, you heard me talk. If you were listening to the podcast, we 8 to 10 hours without power when the ice storm hit, or not the ice storm, but the freezing cold temperatures that we had this year. We had snow, freezing cold temperatures, and our power went out right in the middle of it for, it was about 10 hours. But you can't survive without having a plan, you know? Uh, Fireplace is great. Fireplace really helped. But man, you got to get the power back on. You got to somehow communicate with the world. TV is great. It'd be great to hear what TV is saying about your situation. You know, the ham guys, they have a way to communicate. That's great. I think that's the best way. If you're a ham, you're never in the dark about any situation because you got somebody that you can talk to. But somebody who's just out in the country, man, get that TV going, get some lights on. Depending on the time of the year, back up your refrigerator, and you don't need sophisticated solar to do that. I plug this into the wall. I just leave this plugged in, so it's got a plug that gets plugged into the wall, and this stays charged 24/7. I have a battery charger in here that's more like a battery tender. It just keeps the batteries fresh. So I just leave it plugged in all the time. This box will do. This is a plug to plug it into my RV. I can do my RV for 4 hours with the air conditioning on with this box. So that's how powerful it is. It's 200 amp hours, so that's basically 200 amps for an hour. Or my the air conditioner in my RV probably is running maybe 7 amps. So you can run the lights and TV and the air conditioner for 3 or 4 hours, which is really nice. You can stop in a rest stop and use all the power in your RV and just get going again. Uh, this box will charge with solar, with being plugged in, or you can use the solar input. A solar controller can be used plugged into a car. So you can actually put your whatever your alternator is putting out. Batteries like to charge the LiPo batteries that we use now like to charge up a little bit higher than what your alternator's doing. So you can throw this in and make your charging voltage 15 volts, and you can charge anything with 15 volts. Just put it through the controller and it'll shut it off when it gets charged right. But brands like Victron Energy, great brand, not real expensive, great stuff, great Facebook page, great web page. You can ask these guys anything. I love this company. If you're doing solar, any of the controllers that Victron has, the best stuff around. Once you do, this is also Victron, but this is a battery gauge. So this tells you how much battery is left, and that's pretty important too if you're going to be running on batteries. So there's a lot involved with building a box. I don't know, has anybody ever heard of a brand named Jackery? Jackery makes solar generators. So for $6,000, you can buy a 3K solar generator. $1,200. $1,200, Jackery, $6,000. You don't need the big, expensive stuff to do the job that the Jackeries are doing. This is so powerful. See, the way I've done it, I can add batteries into the front panel with this connector right here. So I can turn my solar generator, plug that in, and add a bank of batteries. Add as many batteries as you want. So there's another 200 amp hours, 200 amp hours. I can get 400 amp hours out of this box by just hooking other batteries into it. And that's really cool. So another cool thing about this box in our world, and especially your world, this is a 24-volt box, and I can jumpstart a 24-volt vehicle with this box. Tractor, whatever. But that's great for a farm application, right? It's a 24-volt unit. I've got 12 volts and 24 volts here, and I can take it out to jumpstart or to make the box stronger. So and Jackery, you can do that. You're spending $80 on a cable and 900 bucks on another battery box. You just don't need to be doing that. So this is maybe 1,200. That's another. I don't know. Batteries have really gone down. 100 amp hour battery. That's a 100 amp hour battery, but I'm going to talk about that in a minute. This right here, this LiPo technology, this is what everybody's using. And this is why. That's a light battery. I mean, that's nothing. That's this is a 50 amp hour battery. So everybody loves these batteries. But, so what? The batteries are now, the 100 amp hour batteries are $250. So that's a $500 box. Just show you what I did. There's two batteries in there. I can use one battery or the other or turn them off. So when I add it on, I can shut this box down and turn into that. But when I need the extra power, turn it on. And this is just, the hardest thing is to learn how to crimp these terminals. Because you gotta be able to pass the power. And to do it, you gotta, I love using these connectors too. If you're trying to pass power, Anderson. Anderson is the way to do it. They're real inexpensive. They plug into each other. So, oh yeah. And you can't plug it in the wrong way. So that's what I really like. After that's 500 amps. That's 200 amps. If you're going to do it the way I did it, it's really not a bad idea to be able to add on batteries. It just makes it makes this box so powerful. So with this box, with that box, I'm not kidding. You've got $10,000 with Jackery, and this is maybe two. And that's what I'm here to tell you, that you can back up your house. When my power goes down, I'm in my house. The first thing I do, I got power. Plug in a strip, start running extension cords to the refrigerator, lighting, get the lights on in your house, get your TV on, get a real TV. Make sure you have a real TV, not a on TV or a Roku. I mean, you can't watch. We can't watch Kansas City anymore on our Roku TV. Roku TV. They've taken it away. If it doesn't connect to the internet, there's another good tip. Go buy a TV that you can still get TV stations with. It's a great preparedness trick. So a lot of the components that you have to use to build a generator, and I would suggest it's really not that hard to do. It involves, so not only does it do that, but I can light it up. So I've got lights everywhere. That's what you want when you're, as soon as the box goes on, the lights come on. So you're at least lighting up your work area. That's a controller. That's $30. I got a fuse block in here for the circuits that I'm running. Not a lot of money. Now, the thing, where's that box? Oh no, here. Okay, sorry. If you're going to be designing a box, this is LiPo batteries, LiFePO4. You guys know that's what this is. This new light battery, right? That right there is a gel cell, and I can't hardly lift it. It's 100 pounds. But this is half the power of that. I love that they're really light because I'm not able to move the heavy stuff like I used to. But this is a 20 amp charger. This can charge this thing in about an hour and a half. Get a good charger. If you're going to build one of these boxes, I don't know, Amazon, $60. But this is the heart of it, and the other. So this is what takes your solar panels and charges your batteries. This is what charges your batteries when you have it plugged into the house. And you got to have this box powered up and ready to go. That's why you built it. That's what you're doing with it. Wow. Let me try not to pop so bad. So basically, charger, controller, battery. That's all that's in this box. And a bunch of connections. You don't have to put it in a box. You can put it on a board. Just do whatever you want. Just get it hooked together. But I like the box because it's neat and sweet. And this stays in my lab. and I have a strip plugged in there. So when the power goes out, I just start plugging into the strip. I really do like to be able to take this in my art. So if the shit hits the fan, probably won't be in the house because it's going to be too hard to heat and cool. So this hooks up. There's an RV plug. This box runs my RV, and the same thing. I can have as many batteries as I want. Okay, this is an RV solar panel, right? It's 100 watt. It's the same amount as power as this one, but this is what we would want to use on our because you don't have that flat surface that the real panel is going to need. But I use two of these, and man, I can charge this box in 2 or 3 hours with two of these. I'm getting 6 amps each, so I've got 12 amps on a really sunny day. These are pushing 22 volts and 10 amps apiece. So again, this isn't expensive. This is a $100 panel, but this, oh, okay, eco-worthy. I just checked this price before I came here, $63. I've got 4 of these not even open because you don't need it now. I'm waiting for the shit to hit the fan. I am waiting for pardon me, I'm waiting for the Democrats to shut our power down because that's the only thing they have left. And it's going to happen. They're very upset right now. And I didn't want to make it political, but I feel that's what's going to cause our power to go down for 7 days. And I don't know, you hear a lot of talk about how many days, how many people would die, but 17 days, 2 million people die. So it behooves you to be prepared. I've got my gas generators, and I try to have a lot of gas around. I really like what this adds. I like having big power. It just fits my needs really nicely. Exactly what I'm going to talk about next. And thank you for bringing that up. Um, the So we have lead acid batteries, and then we have SLA batteries. That's starved lead acid. That's what it's supposed to be a semi-sealed battery. That's what Die Hard is going to. So if you're buying a battery for your car, you have two choices now: lead acid, which is a wet battery, or your SLA. These are SLAs. Well, pardon me, that's an SLA, a starved lead acid battery, but that's a gel cell. And I love that battery. I've had that battery for 10 years. Because it's a gel cell and it doesn't vent, it's a different technology. I have left that's been in my mule for 5 years, in the back of my mule, and powers up my inverter so I can use my pole saw. I never charge it. It just sits there and I'm with the pole saw. So that's what gives me my power in my mule for cutting down branches and stuff. But if honestly, everybody is using this thing right now, this LiFePO4. That's the most popular. This has a brain in it. This only has that many batteries in it. Right? That's how it's light. But that's the powerhouse. Oh no, that's upside down. Yeah, I never have this one right side up. I store this thing at every angle. Yeah, these forever, and the same with that. And that's why I don't like anything that you can't put on its side forever. Because I don't know. I don't feel good about batteries that vent also. I mean, you're just venting acid. I remember walking into the Exide plant, and I'm like, God, how do you guys live in this plant? That's acid. And they're like, oh, really? Whatever. Thank you. Thank you. Right. Anyway, I'm really just using standard parts that you can buy mostly on Amazon. I if you want, you can go to some. I mean, my friend likes eBay because and you guys all know it's a little bit closer to the person. Same stuff, right? You probably get the same stuff from eBay or Amazon, but uh, no, I just wanted to give a talk on. Uh, I I'm not happy with the offering that they give you, the Jackery, and there's 5 other brands, and by the way, Chinese brands that are copying it, and they're still at $4,000. I'm at what, like $2,800 with everything, and I'm blowing away them because look at the size of mine compared to this $6,000 thing that you just bought from Jackery. So do it yourself. If you need any help or advice, Jeep Greg, JEEP, GREG at proton.me. And if I see your email, I'll definitely answer it. But no, I'm not here trying to make any money. I worked in this world. You know, honestly, I sold this, I sold this, I sold all of this stuff. You know, discos, all of this stuff I sold. So I'm just really confident talking about it. That's a 2K inverter. That's a 4K inverter down there. If you want to run air conditioning with 600 amp hour batteries, there's the one down there. But you know what? That inverter, as powerful as it is, it's $450. And if you're going to buy something from Jackery that did that, it'd be $25,000. So no, I'm a big fan, and uh, doing it yourself. I was an application engineer all my life, so I help people do things all their life. So you know, when I retired, I just started building these. I have one with air now, which is really cool because where are you going to find a compressor when the power goes down? And nothing draws more power than a compressor. So if you have a box with a compressor, that might be a cool thing. But I don't know. I think I've talked about everything. Anybody have any questions? Oh, it's Jeep, JEEP, GREG at Proton, PROTON.ME. I used to be Google, but sorry. Oh, by the way, Google has you can claim $1,200 from Google right now on a lawsuit, and man, I'm gonna look into that real soon. I do not like Google, and I keep on getting these notifications. No proof lawsuits. Go get your money. Well, the state's gonna get it, and I want my money from Google. I don't like those guys. Why do they have to keep control? And what the heck is the cloud? Anyway, sorry. There's a little bit of a rant, but that's all I got.
We have a question here, Greg.
Uh, since we're kind of into preparation, and you're talking about keeping food cold and stuff like that, just a little tip that's not kind of related to what he's saying, but if you can get a thermometer with a probe, put it in the freezer, put it in the refrigerator, you can look at your temperature from the outside, and you don't have to keep opening it up. You don't have to feel your meat. And if you have a power failure, you don't want to be doing any of that. So just getting one of those little thermometers with a probe, put it in there, and then if you see the temperature going down, hook up his box, bring it back up, and don't open the freezer. So I just do that. I got a thermometer in my freezer, on my refrigerator. I got one, and I mounted it with Velcro on the sides, and I could look at it and know exactly what my temperature is at all times. So those are cheap little $3 items at Walmart.
Right, right.
I've got a 3 kW inverter coming. I've got two 280 amp lithium iron phosphate batteries that are in my
Nice.
truck. What size of cable will I need to go from the inverter to the battery?
2-aught.
2-aught. All right.
To
Thank you.
start there. It won't hurt you. And there's connectors available at 2-aught for you have in your truck. Yep.
I just wanted to say one thing that I was kind of surprised you didn't mention. If the power goes out and you live on a well, you don't have any water until the power is back on.
No, we're
So-
on city. We actually we're fortunate enough to get on city water. So
And it's the same with like if you've got a furnace, even if you're on natural gas, you don't have electronics
Oh.
to spark it.
no doubt.
So it's just going to keep getting colder
No doubt.
until the power comes on. So if you've got backup power that you can tie,
I love it, and these oil heaters, not the forced air type, and quartz uses a lot of power. Forced air uses a lot of power. These oil heaters that look like an old-fashioned heater that bubble up and just get warm. I wanted to talk about that because that's so like what Bill's saying. I like that. I like conserving every little bit. I love this fan, man. This is a 12-volt fan that takes D cells. It's got 3 levels. I put this next to those heaters that I had, and this is how I spread that heat around my house. These are, this is a decent. It comes. I bought it at Walmart. It comes with the plug that, but this is running. I love the amount of air that's pushing with with D cells. That's really nice. What he's saying, conserve. Don't be plugging a fan in to spread it around. I mean, why not have a few of these? I think these are $12 a piece.
we just picked up one similar to that, but it's rechargeable and it's got a 10 amp hour
Yes,
battery. So
perfect.
you can use that as a backup.
Perfect. You're not wasting power. Because when you don't know how long it's gonna be off for. But yeah, just a different way of thinking. And just I didn't want to. Last couple of words. The people who have these big, huge solar plants in their yard are going to be the first place that everybody goes to when the power goes out for 5 days. It's going to be a line at their house to charge their cell phone. They're going to want to see what's on television because they weren't prepared. So it's not that I'm not a big proponent of solar, but man, hide your solar. Don't let people see your array, because everybody here is more aware of this than a lot of other people. The shit's going to hit the fan, and you got to be prepared for that. And all of these things I'm saying, and more. But I think that's it. I think I covered everything.
Any other questions for Greg before he goes and gets his lunch?
Yeah. So. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. The other thing, one last thing. If you were to go and do a solar project at your house, you put an array in, you do it professionally. The guy's going to charge you $12,000. But the thing is that sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm an old man, and this doesn't happen. Sorry. A big, large install is running 600 to 800 volts, and you bring it down to your AC. So this is 700 to 800 DC volts. All of these panels are hooked together. It's a nightmare waiting to happen. If you know a technician, that's great. Then go and do solar on your house, because you better know a technician if you're going to install solar on your house. I don't want to be that technician. And right now, batteries. Bill lives off grid, and he's about to do a 48 volt system. That is the new standard. They have rack-mounted 48s. You can buy a tall rack now and just slam in the 48 volts. Same thing with the inverters and the converters. They're all rack-mounted now, and you can just so at 48 volts, you've got it's all computerized. 48 volts, if you want to do something, is the way to go, not 700 DC. So you're going to save money doing that too, because okay, last thing, and I maybe last thing, but I hate this. Missouri Wind and Solar in Seymour, Missouri. If you want to learn about solar, just go there on a weekday. They're not open on weekends. Missouri Wind and Solar, and it's in Seymour, Missouri. And they have these panels that they have bought back from power plants that have been used for 2 or 3 years that they sell dirt cheap, and they're high power. Really nice. That's a good place. When the government uses solar, they only use it for 3 or 4 years now, and then they change it out. Missouri Wind and Power is where you can buy the used stuff, and that's a great way to get really powerful stuff. Missouri Wind and Solar, pardon me. Yeah, absolutely. Wherever you can get it cheapest. Missouri Wind. Yeah, either. Honestly, all of my batteries, every battery I've up here except for that one, is Amazon. It's sad to say that, but we give them too much money.
All right, any more questions for Greg before we let him go get his lunch?
Okay, what? Nice.
So I hire a guy. He comes, hooks up a big solar panel on my house.
Yeah.
Hooked to now the grid has to be low enough for me to push to it. They can raise that grid up. We have a neighbor, probably $20-some thousand, new solar system. I'm sure their grid voltage is too high for them to push to it, so they don't really get but a little bit of benefit.
I know. Same with the guy down the road. He installed it himself, and Evergy doesn't want to work with him.
Correct. And you've got solar. Rates have gone up.
Unbelievable. I guess different world than when Biden was around.
All right, last chance. All right, give it up for Greg. Real useful information there, folks. I'm going to walk him off the stage. Stay put. I have some announcements.
I'm usually good at that going down.
All right. I was just handed this note from the gals at the front desk. Arnold Avery, your blue water bottle is at Lost and Found. Somebody's black car keys are at Lost and Found. They're being demonstrated by my lovely wife. And there is an Angel Fire ammunition silver coffee tumbler at Lost and Found. So if any of those are yours, they are at Lost and Found. Are there any older eligible women at Lost and Found? Asking for a friend. All right, guys, the next class is going to start at 3 o'clock, so you have a little bit of time. Please go spend your time looking at our vendors. There is probably not a single one along this line who has not sponsored us and given us something that's up there on those tables. Please go see the gals at the front. Go buy some tickets, buy some sweat pen. Every little bit helps. Go see them. And if you want some Hollow Rose coffee from Nicole Sauce from Living Free at Tennessee, it's over here you can see where all the water stuff is. And I'm excited to say that our friends Caroline and Jesse are back with their Kangen water machine. Go over and talk to them about that. Go get some water that's good for you. Moving forward as the day gets busy, love you guys. If we can start pushing the chairs further this way away from the ticket booth, that way they have more of a path for people to get around, that would be awesome. Go to Lost and Found and buy some tickets while you're there.